I'm joining you today very fittingly with a baby sleeping on my back who may wake up at any moment. But today we're just going to chat a little bit about sleep associations. So I really want to go back to the basics of sleep and just talk about some of these basic concepts about infant and child sleep. So let's start with sleep associations. So what are sleep associations? Because a lot of times we hear in our culture sleep associations in a negative way. There is this negative connotation with a baby having sleep associations. And really all that a sleep association is it's something that helps a person fall asleep, or that is associated, we associate with sleep, or a baby associates with sleep. So that's what a sleep association is. We all have them. Most of us have some sort of sleep association. That might be you need your favorite pillow just right. Maybe you like to sleep with a diffuser on with a really relaxing essential oil. Maybe you you have a favorite pair of socks that you wear or something like that. Maybe you have to have the fan on at night. A lot of adults sleep with sound machines, and they sleep best with sound machines. So these are all examples of sleep associations that we may have as adults. So sleep associations is really a neutral term that has been vilified a little bit by our sleep training focused culture. But I actually think that, one, sleep associations are not wrong or bad. Sometimes there may be a sleep association that is more parent driven, that is no longer working for the parents, that they may need to change, and that is fine. But sleep associations inherently are not bad. They're not a problem. A lot of times people will tell you that if your baby has any sleep associations, you need to sleep train and get rid of those things, and that is just not true. Sleep associations can actually be a very useful tool for parents to have, because the more sleep associations you have in your parenting sleep toolkits, the more likely it is that another caregiver will be able to get your baby to sleep. It will just make it a little bit easier if mom does need a break and mom cannot, for whatever reason, nurse that baby to sleep. Then it is just often a little more easier when there are some other sleep associations that baby is used to that another caregiver can use that isn't nursing. So some common examples of sleep associations that many babies have are breastfeeding or nursing to sleep. It could be snuggling, rocking, bouncing. A lot of babies like their butts to be patted. It could be making a sound like shushing, like shh. It can be maybe you hum a song or sing a specific bedtime song to your baby. It can be a sound machine. It can be a lovey if that's developmentally and age appropriate. It can be just even walking into the sleep space and turning the lights off can in and of itself be a sleep association. So you can see how we all have sleep associations. Even those babies who are sleep trained, those parents who are sleep training, their babies still have sleep association. What is really interesting is that when our culture really pathologizes sleep associations for infants, what they're really pathologizing is not the sleep association itself. They are pathologizing a parent-led sleep association. In other words, a sleep association that requires the involvement of a parent. And so I think that's really fascinating. When you really break it down, it's not exactly that people think sleep associations are a problem, but that sleep associations involving a parent are the problem. Just this very interesting concept, right? Our society tells us that it's not okay for mom or for dad to rock baby to sleep, but it is okay for that snoo to rock and vibrate baby to sleep. It's not okay for mom to nurse baby to sleep, but it is somehow okay for baby to have a pacifier to soothe them to sleep. So it doesn't make sense. It's not okay for parents and caregivers to do exactly what they are meant to do, what they are designed to do with their bodies. We are designed to support our babies with our bodies, to soothe and comfort our babies with our bodies. But society tells us that's not okay. But society tells us it is okay. And in fact, it is ideal for us to buy products that are meant to mimic and to substitute what a caregiver does with their own body and their words and their breasts. So just consider that for a moment. So when you look at it like this, when you can see it from this perspective, the truth is that society values independence. And so society's priority is really about just getting baby to sleep independently. And society doesn't really value, in general, society does not value the role of caregiver, specifically the role of mother. And so it's okay for things, for items to do the role of mother, but it's not okay for mothers and caregivers to do the role of mother and caregiver. Really the gist of why sleep associations have become this bad word in the world of baby sleep. But if we can come from this perspective of understanding that babies rely on us to co-regulate, they are not meant for self-soothing, self-regulating. They are meant for co-regulation, which is two people regulating together. In this case, it is the adult doing the majority of the regulating until baby begins to gradually take on more and more and more of that. We can understand that there's nothing wrong with parent-led sleep associations. This is how babies are designed, and it will not be like this forever. This is how they learn. They actually learn to self-regulate through years and years and many, many, many times, many examples of being co-regulated with by a loving, responsible, responsive caregiver. And so sleep associations really doesn't need to be a dirty word. We don't need to rid our baby of all sleep associations that require hands-on parental support, because that will happen with time. We are literally teaching our baby the skill of self-regulation and self-soothing by first doing that for them. And in time, this takes years, not an overnight thing. In time, they will begin to take a little bit of that responsibility of self-regulation on their own, and will back off a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So it's this really beautiful dance. It's not this like turn on, turn off switch of today my 3-year-old, I get asked the question all the time, how old can we expect our children to be to self-regulate? How old is a child who can self-regulate? And the answer is it's not that simple. It's a very gradual process of our child taking on a little bit more of that and us backing off a little bit. And this takes years. And in fact, it goes through all of childhood. There are a lot of researchers out there who say that we are actually wired for co-regulation until we're about in our mid-20s. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we can't self-regulate at all, but it means we really do rely on it, even if it's just a little bit. And our brains are not mature enough to fully self-regulate on our own until that time. But if you look at this, even just from this perspective of looking at a small child, we're going to have to help our children regulate across their life. And some days and some circumstances, they're going to be able to do a little bit more of that. Some days they're going to be hungry. Maybe they're having a stressor in their life, and we're going to need to take on a little bit more of that for them. So in summary, the only negative or bad sleep association is one that's no longer working for you. So if it's taking you hours to rock your baby to sleep, that is a sleep association that is going to quickly become a negative one for you, because it is not sustainable. And so while rocking to sleep is not inherently bad, that is a situation that is no longer working for you. And so we need to figure out, why is it taking hours to rock your baby to sleep? That's a sign that something is not quite right, whether it's the scheduling or the sleep environment, or there could be a plethora of other issues going on. And 2, we can start to layer in other sleep associations, because I like to think of it as kind of peeling back the layers of an onion. If you only have one sleep association to fall back on, whether it's rocking or nursing to sleep, then it is very likely that your baby is going to have a difficult time getting to sleep unless they have that one sleep association present for them. Whereas if you start to layer in some other sleep associations, so maybe while you're nursing, you also pat their bum or hum them a song, or they have a lovey, then you can kind of peel back the layers. You can peel back that layer of, okay, I'm not going to nurse right now, but we have these other 2 or 3 sleep associations to kind of fall back on, and it might make those transitions a little bit easier.